Good morning. I still I can't tell you. I was in this iffy mood, and I'm just so moody this morning. And that song, the whole little intro really just brightens me up. So hopefully it does for all the tribe members. So again, cannot emphasize how appreciative we are to
Fer.
to Fer, because she did such a great job with this, and we're very happy. So, good morning, everyone, and welcome to Viva Cafe con Leche. I am Lori Monaco, the Badass Buddha, coming to you from a nice, sunny Southern Connecticut. I'm supposed to be in the high 50s, low 60s today. Very excited about this. I am with Align Yourself Inc. I am an authenticity teacher, speaker, coach, and specializing in transformation and mindfulness practice. And I am also known as the Fat Eviction Specialist, giving you the Fat Eviction program featuring Chirothin so you could lose weight and get health back. So good morning. Good morning.
Good morning, Badass Buddha, Dr. Lori Monaco, etcétera, etcétera, etcétera. Buenos días. Hello, everybody. I am La Margarita. I am your spiritual and creative healing life coach, your wedding officiant. I am your writer, your artist. I am magically orgasmic and unapologetically courageous. So, welcome to, and I come to you from, it's like a gloomy Tuesday morning here in Tampa. It's been chilly. Today's supposed to be a little nicer. But yeah, welcome, bienvenido. And let's have a great show today.
Yes, to celebrate, right, Women's History Month, but also to celebrate yesterday, which was International Women's Day. So that was it was amazing to see how many beautiful posts came up and the pictures and celebrating women. And it was just absolutely fantastic and so good to see. And it got me really inspired to push for really getting my girls, because I have daughters, to just really understand the power of women, And so all this week, actually starting last week, my little one, my second grader, we've been, she has to do a certain amount of reading. So she has this checklist of stuff that she has to do, but she checks off nonfiction, fiction, blah, blah, blah. But then I've also added one element for her to read, and we've been reading about one woman every single day starting last Thursday. And it's amazing to see, as I'm teaching her, she's reading it, and then if it's a hard book, I'll read it to her. But it's amazing to see how she's mesmerized by, we were talking, who did we start with? We started with Susan B. Anthony, and we were talking about her and Katie Stanton, and she was just why, we couldn't vote, we couldn't do this, we couldn't do that. And then within that realm too, was because that time period was it wasn't just women's suffrage, but it was also for African-American rights. And so the conversation was so very cool with a 7-year-old to explain to her what you get to do now. These women paved the way. All these people in history paved the way for all these changes to occur. And so I would say to her, well, what if, you couldn't go here, you couldn't do this, you couldn't do that. And she was just we don't think about it because we've become used to a lot of things, the good and the bad. We've become used to still that women don't make as much as men in certain fields. We've become used to that still to this day, unfortunately. But many other things have changed, which is absolutely fabulous. So I'm talking a lot. So Gladiator Guru, jump in. I know you're probably tired, but
no, why are you talking a lot? No, it's true. It's like even with the civil rights, generation from generation, we tend to forget the importance of why we are able to do what we can do today. And I think it's up to the parents and mentors, family members to say, hold up, let me take you back a bit. So they can fully understand the sacrifice, the struggle, and the intelligence of our people that have really fought. They had this insight into the future of saying, if I don't do this now, and we forget, and we don't vote, and we don't exercise all our rights, we don't exhaust every option that's given to us, And then we want to wonder why things don't work out in our favor sometimes. But, it's not about working hard. It's about working smart and reading and knowing what your rights are and how far you can take it. There's a loophole for everything. So absolutely. So, mi gente, remember to send in your Taza de Café challenge. I know with our little riding the waves and trying to climb the mountaintops, but we're still on with the Taza de Café challenge. So please send us your picture, either of you holding your mug or of just a mug on your table. I know we get a lot of pictures with them sitting with their notepad, their cup, and the computer because of the virtual love that we must be sharing in today's time. But that works, that's working smart. So
Sure.
send us your taza de café. Just, just inundate our inboxes, there's DMs and message and text and email. I don't care how you do it, just send it. And then, we'll give you credit, and we are still keeping score, and our merchandise is just around the corner. So be patient. Don't be those people who give up on something right when they're 2 steps away from hitting the jackpot. We're the jackpot, by the way.
Listen, we want you to earn it too. Share. Get on the YouTube channel again and subscribe. Let us get out there and share. So you got to earn it if you want that stuff. And if Yuritsa's on, she's probably going, for God's sakes, I've already earned it. I've sent all this stuff in. And I think I've earned it. So yes, Yuritsa, you're first on the list. I know you're not on just yet, but you will be soon. And we want to do some shout outs. So good morning to Tiffany, first one on. She beat everyone this morning. Doc Lacante's in the house. Nubia, good morning. Michelle Houston. Kimberly Sanchez. Who else do we have? Did I say Nubia? Yes, I think I did. Nancy Green. Linda McBee's on, which is fabulous. Linda is one of our guests. She's going to be coming on next month. Who else is on? Wanda, our Southern Belle from Georgia is coming on. She loves when I call her that. So good morning, everybody. And that's great too, because our guest is actually from Georgia today. So this is going to be fabulous. So we're going to try to jump very quickly into getting Michelle on. We're celebrating a little differently for the month of March, celebrating women. So usually Tuesday we don't have guests on, but we want to have guests on like both days and just enjoy and celebrate as often. Oh, there my girl is on. Erika Bolahala is on. She's in
Erika.
So we're going to do our intentions and our mantra, and then we're going to go right into our guests. So I believe I have the intention today. And so the quote that it's going to go with today, this is from Lala. Is it Dahlia, right? It's Lala Dahlia, isn't it? Dahlia? I don't know why I can't remember how to say her last name. But
is it with the A? D-A?
It's Dahlia, I think, right? Lala.
Or
Dahlia.
D-E?
D-E. Okay. She remembered who she was, and the game changed. Okay, so today's episode is Fuck the Fear. All right, so she remembered who she was and the game changed. Very powerful quote. I love it. And so the intention that we will set today is I will face the day with intention, bravery, strength, and the knowledge that I can do it. So your intention for today is I will face the day with intention, bravery, strength, and the knowledge that I can do it.
That's awesome. I like that. My quote, my women quote is, walls turned sideways are bridges. Walls turned sideways are bridges, right?
Oh my God, I love that.
And the quote that to go with that, in my mantra, is be the gardener of your crops, reap the joys you sow, and weed out the sorrow you hold. Flip that bitch. Flip it. Like the wall. You see one thing that's a barrier for you to go any further, right? Something that's going to hold you there. But if you flip it and you turn it sideways, it's something you can walk over to the other side. And that's how it is. When you are the gardener of your crops, meaning the queen of your soul, your spirit, your everything, your chakras. Then you decide, what am I going to do today that is either going to bring me joy or bring me sorrow? So it's all on you. So whenever you see any kind of obstacles, any kind of circumstances, anything that makes you sad, you gotta enjoy what happened while it was okay, and then you flip it. Because what is life? What is the circle of life? It is being born and it is dying. Those are certainties. It's what you do in between. So yeah, so Angela Davis said, walls turn sideways are bridges. And then the mantra.
And Gladiator Guru said, flip the bitch. That's what Gladiator Guru said.
And the mantra is one of my own quotes. Be the gardener of your crops. Reap the joys you sow and weed out the sorrow you hold. Because as women, we also tend to be sponges. And we want to hold on to everything. And we want to carry everybody's grief, including our own. That's already, what happens. There was a quote that says, people are so anxious to reach the top of the mountain, but it's what's at the base of it that they miss. Right? So, yep, that's mine. That's me for this morning. Buenos dias, mi gente. Buenos dias. Namaste.
And so we have Iritza's on. Good morning, Iritza. Good morning, Liza is on. And Connie's on. Good morning. There's sometimes people that come on that I miss because if they don't say anything. Sonia Rodriguez is on. Good morning.
Oh my God. Buenos dias.
Yes. And sometimes I don't hit everybody unless I look at the actual scrolling stuff. So I don't know do you have your thing on in the background? I hear it. I hear somebody talking. Like I hear our broadcast talking.
No, not me.
Oh, okay. I'm getting a feedback.
No, see, it's on, but you don't hear nothing. Look, say something. Yeah. Buenos dias, good morning, because it's a beautiful morning. Okay. Yeah, you don't hear it, right? It's not me. Don't make
no. I think it's
audience.
I think it's the feedback. Sometimes it has this extra little feedback, so. That's okay. No worries. It's slow enough. So that's great. Okay. So here we go. You ready? So let's bring on our fabulous guest today. Our guest today is Michelle Sanchez Boyce, COO of My Music Box at BMG and founder of the 50-ish _ the movement, which we are going to talk all about today. She's going to join us with our Fuck the Fear conversation today. So everybody, welcome Michelle to the house. Hey, good morning, Michelle.
Good morning. ¿Cómo estás?
Good morning.
Buenos
dias. Oh my God. Okay, trying to fit myself in this little box here. It's a little early for me. I got up and I did a little moño.
That's fine.
I love it. Little. It's like
it's a pineapple. I love it.
It's a pineapple. But listen, that just shows you. Look how fabulous she looks, though, right? She just says, "I rolled out of bed." I just love that.
I took a shower, and I have to. I want to make a correction. I am not from Georgia. Let's not say that. I live in Georgia.
I think I said coming from Georgia.
Your exact words, she's from Georgia.
Okay.
And I'm like, oh my God, don't say that yet. I've only been here a year.
Okay. Where are you originally from again, Michelle?
I'm originally from New York.
Oh, yeah, there we go. And that's why there's a big distinction. So yes, my apologies. And you know what the funny part is? My friend Wanda, that is from Georgia, doesn't like to admit that she's from Georgia either. So she's a Yankee totally. Like she fits in with the Northerners totally. So my apologies. Yeah.
I'm an Atlanta peach right now, but my heart is an apple. My heart is a full apple.
Perfect. All right. So Michelle, tell us about your, like, what you do, and then tell us about 50-ish, the movement. And because we're talking about fear today, we're celebrating women empowerment and women in general. So just sort of tell your story, and then like what you're bringing in.
Okay.
Yes.
So I have an extensive marketing background. I started my career in the music business as a marketing executive putting together marketing campaigns for artists in different genres. I started in hip hop, R&B, and I did a little bit of gospel. And then during the pandemic, I stopped doing that for a while because the business had changed, and so had I. I grew, and during the pandemic, I reunited with an artist that I worked with for many years, whose album I launched, his first album I launched, and it was super successful, and we remained friends throughout the years. And he got a label deal and asked me to come on board to run his label as chief operating officer of his label. His name is Anthony Hamilton, and he's
my favorite.
Mine too. So I said I wouldn't go back into music, but only for the right opportunity. And that opportunity was, I'm a fan, and I respect his brand, and he is definitely, the soul singer of our generation. So without hesitation, of course I said yes. But while I was, so I've been doing that for the last year, and I love my day job. That's my day job. But while I was approaching the age of 50, I just realized that there was, my initial thought was, I was looking around and I saw that a lot of the women in my circle and women that I met throughout my travels or throughout business, that 50 was very, very different, right, than what we thought 50 was when we were kids, right, or when our moms were 50s. And I wanted to kind of celebrate that. And my idea initially was to do a coffee table book with, beautiful images and kind of profiling these women and telling their stories, right? Because we all are, we turn 50, but we all have different journeys that we've taken to get to where we were. And then I realized that to do a quality coffee table book, is super expensive. So what I did was, right in line with your tagline for today with Fuck the Fear, was last year, again, right before the pandemic, I was kind of nervous on what can I do? And instead of being scared when I was on spring break with my son, I was like, you know what, fuck it. I'm just going to do it. I'm going to just launch it digitally, and I'm going to put it on social media. It's free, and just see, if there's a following or an interest. So as last year, 2020 was my first post, and I launched my first, I posted a picture of my girlfriend, who is stunning. Her name is Shanoa Maxwell. And then I just posted her picture, and I just got so many comments, and I got women from all over the world reaching out to me, telling me, just there's a level of confidence that comes with with 50. It's kind of what can I say? It's kind of anticlimactic, right? Because you approach the age, and you say, when I get to this point, I'm going to be this, and that, and there is a sense of pride that you have, but then there's also some sadness, right? Because you're like, wow, here I am, and who am I? What am I doing? What am I going to do with the rest of my life? So I launched this platform, and I found that I'm not the only person that feels that way, right? That most of the women that I interview feel the same way. But what I love about them is that they're also very different, for myself, while a lot of my friends are empty nesters here at 50, I have a 13-year-old because I chose to, have children later in life. So I talk about stuff like that. I talk about menopause. I talk about, divorce. I talk about dating because, women are, newly divorced, and now they're back on the dating field. So I like celebrating all women from all walks of life. And I'm not talking about the J-Los and the Halle Berrys, because as we know that they are beautiful, but they have a glam squad. I'm talking about your neighbors, your sister.
You're talking about me.
I'm talking about you. I'm talking about myself. I'm talking about badass Buddha. I'm talking about. So yeah, so that's basically what 50-ish is all about. And I'm really excited. I have a woman lined up for each week to the end of the year. That's how many women have reached out to me throughout the world.
That's awesome.
Yep.
And I was a part of it, and it was awesome. And I look at all the women you put up, and they're so beautiful, and some are older than me, and some are just at my age. And they got these bathing suits and bikinis, and I'm like, oh my God, I want to be her when I grow up.
Right.
You know?
Right. Well, that's the thing. I tell women, if that's how you feel sexy, then I want to see that. Send me a picture that makes you feel the most sexiest, right? And sexy to everyone could be different. My cousin, who's Muslim, she's a Puerto Rican Muslim. She sent me a picture of her and her hijab and everything, and I posted her and I did a story on her, and that's her way of feeling sexy. So, it's not always about taking off our clothes, because it's not only about your external beauty, it's about your inner beauty, because that's what really, when you get to a certain age, that's what really is most attractive about women.
Absolutely.
The wisdom and the confidence, and you can have that without having to take off all your clothes.
It's to be.
Take off your clothes, by all means, go. Do it on my.
I'll take off my shirt because I like my breastises dressed in pearls.
Right.
I didn't send you that one, but I really love the one you chose.
Yeah,
the one you chose, the picture you chose of me it was beautiful, and I really loved that one. So thank you. I
like it too. That's why I chose it, because it was strong. It was powerful. You had your hair. It just looked so. I love all the facets, and all the women have their own sense of fashion. So I like to highlight that.
Yep, it's beautiful, and that's wonderful. So you have a woman scheduled for every week until the end of the year, until the end of 2021.
Yeah, so it's I post them on Fridays. I've been watching them. Yeah, I call them 50-ish Fridays, and I call them my beauty of the week. I post Jet magazine has the beauty of the week, and there's always a woman. So I got the concept from that. I used to love looking at Jet to see who was the beauty of the week, and it's yeah. So that's the kind of the whole concept.
Well, yeah, that's beautiful. It's not about reinventing the wheel. It's about using it to your advantage. Whatever's dear, we take and we create from it. So I think that's wonderful. I love that. I love when you said, I'm sorry. Go ahead, Buddha.
So what do you think about as we age, right? We tend to, we gain the knowledge, and do you feel that women have more fear, as much fear, different fears by the time we hit this age? So if we're going to say, fuck the fear, I know for me, I've transitioned tremendously in my 40s because I had to, it was do or die, literally. Right. So I had to transform, but I love I love me now. I love the me now. I look back at my 30s and go, God, that was my quote, the time, prime time. Yeah. But it's I love myself now. I love the way I look. I love the way I feel. I love the way I think. But there's still pieces that remain that I have to deal with on a daily basis. So do you find that as you get to know women, that we have as many fears, less fears, different fears, and do we have the ability to we have the ability to get past, but how challenging can it be when we get to a certain age to get past our fears?
I find with myself and most of the women that I've profiled on my platform that they're fearless. Most of them are fearless. I think that most of them had a fear, but now they're so sure of themselves that they're fearless. I don't find them to be initially some of the women that I think what they're fearful of is just being transparent. When I tell them I need your authentic stories. This is why, no one can tell your story better than yourself, right? So I allow women to curate their own stories. Send me pictures, I give them questions, and then they can give me as much or as little as they want. But sometimes if they give me a little something, I'm like, I need to know more about that. Tell me more about that. Tell me. There was one woman, and you can see her on my platform who married someone and then found out that the person that she was married to he was already married. So she found out that she was marrying a con man, and then on top of that, she had a child with him. So then she had to give him child support, which is like a whole nother dynamic, right? So at first, she gave me little bits and pieces, and then that story was and it happens so often too, especially later in our lives, because we're so busy, and dating now is very different than it was, when we were in our 20s, like this whole, all these dating apps and social media and all this other stuff, like that's a whole nother conversation piece, right? We can talk forever about that. So just delving in and just pulling things out, I found that she was, initially she was, I think maybe afraid to give me too much. And then once I made it, made her feel comfortable that it's all right to share.
Yeah.
My platform has given me that type of story. You don't know who you'll be helping, and, and then she was open and she gave me more and she allowed me to speak on it. So, but I do find that, I don't know. I mean, how do you women feel? Don't you feel like fearless? Like, I'm still shy about the things that I was shy about. Like that doesn't ever change because that's who I am at my core. But when it comes to talking about my life or talking about life in general, or I'm ready. I'm ready to rock and roll.
You have to be. Like people ask me, and I have a question for both of you. Do you think that when you self-doubt yourself at certain levels of certain things you are thinking of doing, or maybe you're about to, but then you pull back, do you think that self-doubt equals fear, or do you think they're different? They're different. Like having sometimes when you're going forward with something and then you second guess yourself and then you stop. Like a lot of people are like, why are you afraid? Why are you scared? And me personally, I don't think having a doubt about something or am I skilled enough to do this? I don't really think that it's fear's twin sister. I think they're like second cousins. Right? Because
I would say so.
I'm fearless. Like we grew up with deja el miedo en la gaveta. When you leave in the house, you put that fear in the dresser drawer, you close it, you go on. And there was one time when a minister, when I was in Spain, asked me, well, what do you fear of? And I said, most of the time I fear of not having fear because then there's not a boundary.
Right.
And I really don't stress over things I can't control, but there are things I really don't know. I really don't know, but there is sometimes doubt. Am I going to be able to carry this through? Am I going to want to carry it through? Am I good enough at this? But I don't really think it's the same. So that was my question to you.
I think it's hard to really distinguish because like sometimes people, I don't think even know that they have that fear. I think if you have like a self-sabotaging behavior and you just failure to launch or like actually just take action, is that, where is that a self-doubt versus a fear? So like if you know that you want to do something and you just are not doing it and everything gets in the way, there's so many people that will say that it is a fear and you're putting too many things in there so you don't acknowledge that it's a fear. So I think it's like a little tricky sometimes. I agree. I think it is separate, but I also think that fear is not so obvious. I think it can be quite hidden in us. And so it takes a lot of, so Michelle, you were talking about when the women are sharing these things, their stories, you have to be vulnerable to do that. And vulnerability has always been considered a sign of weakness. And especially with us women, the last thing we ever want to do is really show weakness because, quote, that is what makes us different than the males, the males, Right. And so we've been driven that vulnerability is weakness. You can't show that because vulnerability is part of fear, blah, blah, blah. So I think that when you step in and you really look at it and say, okay, if I'm not doing this, is that fear, or the inaction, is that fear? Or is it because I just really don't know? And if I don't know, then that means I just need to know. So I don't know, like, I think it's a tricky little thing, but it also, either way, it starts with awareness. Doesn't matter how you define it. It matters. Like if you say, I'm here and I want to be there, what's preventing me from getting there? Is it lack of knowledge? Is it, financial problem or challenges, or is it fear? And then is it fear underlying that I keep saying it's these other things, but it's actually fear? So I don't know. I think you got to go deep.
I think you do. And I think you got to say, fuck the fear several times a day while you're accumulating something. Now, vulnerability, we grew up on survival skills. I don't know who made vulnerability to be not such a weakness or such a thing, because when you are vulnerable, you make like poor choices. To me, that's what I'm thinking. you're vulnerable, you're weak in one part, not weak like pathetic, but you're not as sharp right here. And to me, being vulnerable, I just like to just like be in my own space so I don't fuck it up. Either I'm gonna go out there and fucking live for a fight, or I'm gonna make a poor choice and sleep with your ass. So you know what I mean? Like, so you gotta like protect yourself from it. But is vulnerability your weakness? Does it cause fear? I think each individual and shit that they have to let go from their yesterday in order to stand tall and proud in their courage today. And I think that's a lot of the work we women got to do. And that's a lot of the work we women have to reach down and lift others and saying it's okay. Because that fear will hinder us and then those around us, right? So I think I would say like, fuck it, I'm going to do it. Fuck it, I'm going to do it.
Yes.
And that's how, you know, you got to do it. And I think we got to teach that to the younger people too. But I've met people my age that I just have to walk away because my thing is I want to slap them because they're too vulnerable. And I'm not going to be, you know, you want to just roll up somewhere and I don't care to follow. So it's like, I'll come back. Call me when you're better. And then we'll talk. But I don't know, Michelle, what do you think?
So I agree with you early on. You said something about, you know, growing, you know, survival skills and stuff like that. So I agree. For me, I was always very, very little. I was a product of my environment, right? I grew up in inner city Brooklyn, and I was taught to not be, you know, fearful. My mother was like, go out there and kick her ass. Like, you know, don't, and if you come upstairs, right, I'm going to kick your ass. So I was more scared of her to this day than, you know, than anything. So I just was always very, very, very fearless. And then, you know, and now that I'm older, I was also born premature. So I felt like I was always born fighting. You know, from the day I was born fighting, even though I was super little. So I never really had, I never knew that I was fearless, you know, until I got a little older. And when I got older, I would say like in my college years, like my early 20s, early 30s, and I made people uncomfortable with my confidence. And that, you know, I started like the feedback I would get from people was that they were not very happy with my, you know, the way, you know, and that kind of conditioned me to kind of try to change. And when I did that, I had a conversation with somebody and they said, when you change who you are, and then you're not going to win because you're not who you are. So just
that's
be
right.
who you are. And I started, you know, I now that I'm older, I see where I was and where I am now. And I'm happy that I'm back to who I originally was meant to be. So yeah. So fuck fear. I don't, you know, I'm sorry if you feel uncomfortable with my greatness.
I do.
Yes.
I think that, you know,
that.
we are raised. My father was the same way. I don't know if you're familiar with Connecticut, but I was born and raised for the early part of my life in Father Panic. You know, so, and then I think that as we're learning things and setting out, we like, I don't know, we not relax, but we still become our true selves. Kimberly mentioned everybody fears something or someone. The only someone I fear is God, because if it's you and me, I'm always going to go for me. We're going to have issues. And I'll lose you. I don't cut. I don't know if you ever heard that pastor said, if someone ain't good for you, cut.
No, but I tell you, I am fearful of water bugs. Now that's different. That's a phobia.
I'm a spider.
Water bug, I'm running. Like I'm telling you, I can't stand them. Oh, I can't without. I can't. But fear, no.
Yeah, just, you know, yeah. And I think that when certain people meet people like the way you're saying, the way I am, they're intimidated without even knowing us.
Right.
But once they get to know us, they're like, oh my God, I used to be so scared of you. And I'm in the back of my head thinking, you still better be shit. I can't, I'm packing. No, I love to meet people.
But listen, that just shows you though, because, right. So especially with women, if you're confident,
right.
And you said you hit it. People were uncomfortable with your confidence.
Yeah.
And then we're sort of led to believe that if you make somebody uncomfortable, oh, you got to dial it down a little bit because that's not okay.
Right.
And not realizing that it's the person who's uncomfortable, that's their crap. That's them.
Yeah.
So why am I dialing it down to make them comfortable? And I was raised in a household where that was, I wasn't raised to be fearless. I was raised to do what you were supposed to do in society and behave a certain way.
Right.
And if you made somebody uncomfortable, you had to tone it down and be, to accommodate them.
Right.
And I did that for so many fucking years of my adult life, my childhood and my adult life, that by the time I hit the age that I hit, my middle age, and my world just exploded, I finally said, this isn't fucking working. And I am never doing that crap again. Like I have no idea why I was told that. I mean, I could go back and figure it out and say, oh, I was raised with an insecure parent or whatever, but it doesn't matter. It doesn't matter. It's in the past. And it's like, that is not going to happen. And I don't want that for my kids. I have daughters. I don't want that for my girls, because you're right. It's like, you shouldn't have to ever compromise your values and who you are, your authentic self.
Right.
If they say to you, I'm comfortable with you, you're coming on too strong, then you don't know me. Right. And listen, like with Gladiator Guru, I love that about her. She's brought out even more in me, but let me tell you, get to know her. And she is she doesn't even give herself that much credit. She is such a sensitive being, like a beautiful entity, spirit, but she's got it on the outside, and she's not going to just let anybody in there. That's okay to be that way. That's perfect. Vulnerability, the power in vulnerability is about saying, I know what my vulnerability is, and I'm gonna wear it like a badge. And I don't give you have no control over that. It's the difference between controlling that vulnerability or letting the vulnerability control you. And then you face that fear. And then after a while, it's not even a vulnerability anymore, because it's just something that you need to fix or deal with.
Right.
So you fuck that fear.
Right.
Enlighten me, Michelle. Say something.
She's been enlightening us.
She is such the epitome of Northeast Puerto Rican. I love it. The hoops, the moño, the almost a Vaseline on your face, like it's on and popping type of thing. And I love that.
You're asking for a lot of me at 8 something in the morning.
Hey, you're delivering. What are you talking about? You are doing it.
I'm like, shucks. I don't even drink coffee. Today I drank some tea with a little caffeine to get me wired.
We won't hold it against you. Especially Gladiator Guru, what she talks about tea drinkers.
Oh, really? She talks about tea drinkers?
She drinks her tea too, but
I am caught. Well, I know. I just did. It's a quote I saw a while ago. It says, I may not be everybody's cup of tea, but I drink coffee, so fuck them. And that's okay.
I love it. That's a great quote.
That is okay. But yeah, so if you were to give a piece of advice to the women watching today, what would it be? To be themselves, wholeheartedly. Like, I would suggest like writing a few goals down, like who they see themselves as now, tomorrow, and in the future, and put a plan in place to get to that place. Don't let anyone define who you are as a woman. When you leave this world, you want to leave your mark, and you want to set the tone as to how you want to be remembered. So this is your story. This is your journey, and just make it happen for yourself. Whatever it is, on my platform, I always say, I don't only want to like celebrate the women who became doctors and lawyers and, chefs and whatever. You could have been homeless. You could have been whatever, because everyone's story is different, and you have a contribution
to this society. You know?
Absolutely.
And so those are the, you know, I also want to say, like, to any of the people that are listening, or here, that if they have anyone that they would like to celebrate, or they themselves want to be on the platform, to just hit me up at 50ish _ the movement. And I wanted to reiterate what the project is about, that it's a cultural revolution and a sisterhood celebrating the female midlife culture paradigm shift. So my mission statement is that we explore and honor women whose internal and external beauty, intelligence, and confidence exemplifies what a 50ish woman is today. And we do it through beautiful images and personal narratives, proclaiming that 50ish is not an end, but rather a rebirth of self. So this is like your opportunity to take your life back, you know, as we're going through different changes, whether it's like being empty nesters, career changes, you know, there's so many things that are going on.
Widows, I'm a widow.
Yeah. There's, you know, there's just and then hormonal changes, like, you know, there's all these
Girl, that's right.
But we have to, you know, and then when I started going through these changes, I thought I was dying, right? And my doctor held my hand. No, I literally, I thought I was dying. She held my arm. She was like, Michelle, and she's younger than me. Like, I was approaching, I think I was approaching like 48 or something. And she was in her late 30s, early 40s, but a young doctor. And I loved her because I love the fact that she was younger. So her take on medicine was a little different. So I like an old doctor and I like a young doctor. I like to mix them both. And she just held my hand and she was like, if you don't stop, I'm going to slap you. Because I was like, no, I'm dying. And she says, no, you're going. And she showed me like what was going on with my hormonal levels and all this other stuff. And she was like, this is what's going on with you. You're not dying. And so, you know, you can, and once she got me together, I felt fearless. You know, I felt like the world was mine. Like, I'm not dying, ladies. I'm not dying. I just want a little change, but I'm back. You know, I got it together. And the rest is history. Now I'm working, like, you know, I told you my day job, I'm doing this. I'm working on a documentary. I'm doing so many different things. And now I realize I don't want a title. You know, I don't want any more titles. I want to live the rest of my life just doing whatever I feel like that I have a passion for and that I have an interest in, you know?
Absolutely. Absolutely. That's I have an art series that sold really well at an art show I had at the Collective in Norwalk before I returned to Florida. And it's called The Kick-Ass Bitch of Menopause.
I love that.
And they're all like my naked women. And then their hair is like pieces of the Garden of Eden, of hope. It's all green. Their hair's green, like green leaves, which means that although we might be going through something, our hope and energy and our aura and our vivaciousness, it's always in our crown. It's always there.
Yeah.
You know, we must go through what we must go. And that's the biggest thing too. People don't want to go through what they must go through in order to grow, because what does the butterfly got to go through before it becomes a butterfly? Right. And it can't use assistance. We must feel what we are feeling in order to purge and blossom, right? So that's what that series is called. The Kick-Ass Bitch of Menopause, because girl, I've been in menopause.
And I want to also tell women that it's okay to be a little selfish.
Absolutely. We talk about that all the time.
Yeah, because, you know, we raise families, we take care of our men, and then we leave ourselves for last. And I think that the other thing that happened to me in my 50s is that I started taking my time back and saying, you know what, tonight I'm not cooking for you all. You know, make it happen, order, because I'm on a cleanse this week. And I don't want to do that no more. You know what I mean? So I'm just choosing. Oh, you know what, this weekend, I'm actually going away this weekend with my girlfriends. And I need a me weekend. Like, I'm picking out, you know.
That's absolutely beautiful. My business, my Crickets Whisper business, that it's like an umbrella to my little stuff. That's exactly what it is. It's for the women. And it says Crickets Whisper, and the bottom tagline is me time.
Yeah.
Because we don't allow us, mothers, and like, I'm a widow, but I'm a caregiver to my mom. And so we don't do that.
Yeah.
And I need to be free. That's what we need to do. We need to get free fall. We need to do that to ourselves, sing to ourselves, and then just say fuck it, I'm not cooking tonight.
Right.
I'm not doing the laundry. You need clean socks. It's self-explanatory. Turn it on, whatever.
Turn it off, right.
And not feel guilty, because the biggest thing is people feel guilty when they do that.
Right.
And especially our generation. I think our generation was that transition piece where, like you said, Michelle, right in the start, you said, we are different. The 50s are different than when our mothers were 50s, you know, and their 50s. And so we're that transition piece where we were still struggling with, do I put myself first? Is that too selfish? Blah, blah, blah. The younger generations, you know, they catch a lot of crap for the way that they act. And I think part of it is that the older generations are a little jealous of the fact that they figured out early on that they need to put themselves first, and it's not doing it in a selfish manner. They're just saying me first, just like the example they always
It's a healthy way.
Plane with the jet, you know, like if your mask comes down, you put yours on first and then you help others. So if you put yours mask on first, you help. So you take care of your kids, but you take care of you take care of your kids, you take care of your spouse, but you take care of you first. So that's been a hard changeover for us, for some of us, where it's like, do we feel guilty about it? Do we not? And it's like, you're right. Why feel, you know, if we train them well, they're, you know, bold enough to be like, hey, listen, you don't have to cook for me. Right. Hey, listen, you want to go away the weekend? That's fine.
Right.
You know.
Yep. I totally agree. I totally agree.
I think it's walking in your own damn shoes, having boundaries, and cultivating so much self-compassion that the self-esteem just rises within. Before you know it, it's about self-love. And on a Wednesday, you're going to say, oh, honey, laundry's done, but I'm going for the weekend. And that's it. There's no more discussion. And that's how I used to be. I'm out.
Yeah.
All your clothes are ready for the week, because that's just how I am when I'm in love, right? But I'm out on a Wednesday. Oh, by the way, you know, I was feeling kind of down. I'm out. I'm going for 4 days back home to Connecticut. Right. And I think a lot of women overthink that shit. And then, not me. So that is, I've always been like that.
Yeah.
I would tell my Cucha's uncle, I would tell him, listen, let's go to Florida, take the kids. Nah. Okay, that was on a Wednesday. I got a loan from my credit union at the phone company. Got a loan cash, and that day I already booked my trip to Florida with my kids, and we in Disneyland and swimming in the pool while it was cold in Connecticut. Right. And that was it. And now my kids are grown, and now I get to that's it. I want to be like a bird. I want to be that eagle flying.
I hear you.
And fuck the fear. That's perfect. Yeah. And there's nothing wrong with, you know, just because we can't use that bullshit excuse that we're too old or it's too late or I don't this or I don't that. Like we can't, because we have redefined that. Again, we're not our mother's 50s. We are our 50s.
I mean, my tagline on 50ish. Our tagline is not your mama's 50ish.
Yeah. It's look how great we look. Like I look back at my pictures of my mom. My mother's in her mid 80s. I look back and I'm like, she looks so old. Like, and I remember feeling like she was so old when I was younger. I'm like 50. Oh my God, that's so old. Then all of a sudden I was hitting 50 and I'm like, damn, I don't want to say that that's so old anymore, you know? But I look at it and go, God, I love looking at all of us now. Like, I love seeing how fantastic we look and how much we own it. And we're like, screw that. If I want to get a tattoo, I'm going to get that. If I want to get a piercing here, I'm going to get that. It's like, it's anything goes, like anything goes. And it's not stopping there. It's like, what? I got another 40, 50 years left to live. That's my intention.
We're entering, once we hit 50, that's a celebration. We're entering into to me, the most important chapter in our lives. Yeah. That's when we've learned all the bullshit. And now we're paving our roads going forward with all the tools we need to go for. And if we can change our mind in the middle of the building, I decided I want the bedroom on the west wing. Guess what? They're going to have to do it because that's what we want and we know what we want. We might change course midway, but that's just being human. And that's just saying, you know what? I thought I wanted this. Now let's do this. And I think, and that's the joy we should get, that we can still make those executive decisions in our lives. Mm-hmm. You know, we can still say, this is what I'm going to do. I'm proud. You know, I'm proud. I'm going to be 53. I am, you know, and my kids are going to be 35 and 31. I love it. You know, and I'm always going to remember some words that will always resonate with me that my grandmother told me. I think I was about 27, and I said, "Wella," my paternal grandmother who practically raised me. I said, "Wella," my grandfather died. I said, you don't get hot? Like, you don't want a man to touch you or something?" And she's like, "Mira, I don't want those old men touching me." And I said, "Oh, you're all dried up." She said, "What?" She said, "I'll make a 17-year-old holler." And I was like, "What?" And she was in her 70s. And that's the kind of energy that I have. It don't matter what age it is. If anything, we're being better. We're more self-aware. And I think that's the importance when we're heading into this part of our lives. We need to be more self-aware of who we are, and whoever don't like it will buy.
And you know,
That's
I
right.
think that the whole concept of old is a Western, you know, kind of mentality, because I was reading in so many different cultures, especially like in certain places of Africa, like they don't even celebrate, like in these rural, like little, you know, not rural, but remote little places that don't even celebrate birthdays. They celebrate sons and stuff, and then the person who is the oldest is the leader of their, you know, and those people are like really, really admired and respected.
Oh, yeah.
So it's not something like, you know, made fun of. Like even in our society, you know, in our culture, it's like you're getting older and make a joke about it. You know, you see all the cars, like you're getting older, ha ha ha, and it's like, actually, it's a privilege to get older. You know?
Oh, yeah. Wiser.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
And then getting older is a privilege because you get to have life. Like it's just like the simplest concept, y'all. Like it's not just, and it's not only about sex. Like people think, oh, you know, you're getting older, the older people don't have sex. Like
yes, they do.
They up too. Like
ask anybody who works at a nursing home, they'll tell you.
They get it on. Like I don't know what people think. And so it's just, you may not look the same physically, but you know, you still, you know, you still
you know, they all play Marvin Gaye.
Yeah.
Get it on. But no, you're right. I read about villages like that in the remote in Africa, and it's because as you get older, it's like you're knowledgeful. You know, you're learning. You become a hunter. Then you're filled with wisdom. And when you reach a certain age and you're the elder, then you're a sage, and that's where the students sit at your feet. Because now it's like you are beyond enlightenment. You're like a sage, and that's the top of the line of people who.
And you're respected, so they let you be the leader, and they actually look up to you for you know, for your wisdom and for the life you've lived, right? So yeah.
So now, especially more than ever, I mean, really, we cannot use, there's no excuse for not living the life that we're meant to live. There's no excuse to say, you know, oh, I can't do this or I can't do that. I don't have enough money, or I haven't saved enough, or I'm too old, or I'm not in great health. And there's always ways to fix things. There's always ways to get better. And age is just a number. We don't keep all those excuses are part of the fear process. So if you just say, fuck the fear, what am I afraid of? Why don't I want to go forward? Women now especially are more in charge of their lives because we make better money than we ever did before. We are brilliant, you know, and I'm not talking about you have to be a schooled brilliance, you know, we've opened ourselves up, and we've done so much stuff. Like we've raised kids at the same time that we went to work and we managed the household. We did all those things. And so we get to this age, and now it's like you want to slow down and say, oh, well, you know, I can't, or I'm too old. Don't let that fear take over. It's like, just make a list of all the stuff that you want to do, and then just freaking do it. Yeah. Just do it.
At every age, sitting in your life, because I've had money and I went traveling after my husband died. Traveled to the other side of the world. Then my mom got sick, so that now I'm limited funds until I couldn't work anymore because I'm taking care of her. And what it's taught me is that I don't care whether I have money. I live a certain way where it's more minimalisms, and I refurbish what I already have, so I don't feel like I'm missing. And I think the only thing you need money for, in my mind right now, is more the bills and making sure there's groceries and, you know, little necessities. I'm a thrift store shopper. I don't give a shit what's the latest fashion. I'm my fashion.
Right.
I make it happen. So, and I think that that's sometimes the biggest fear in women making changes because they don't have this exorbitant bank account, right? And I think that that's a fear that they really have to conquer, because I think the self-trust is that I may not have today, but as soon as I'm done with this assignment, I'm going to go out there and watch out now.
Right.
There's going to be streets named after me. But right now, I'm not trapped. I'm just in an assignment where I am taking care of my mom. So that takes precedence. But once that assignment is done, that's it, unstoppable. There's not going to be any stop signs in my lane. and I think that's why I'm not fear of anything. There are times I have no money, but guess what? God sends them. People come and listen, I want to buy this. Do you have that? And money comes.
That's right. Yep. That's right.
That's it. It's about Dorby said something which is it's good. She said, not forget of how many of our family and friends didn't have the chance to age. We need to celebrate every day. We celebrate every day, and I celebrate them. I celebrate my dad every year on his birthday. Except for the pandemic, I would go to Connecticut and have this big picnic in his honor, and all my siblings, because he had a lot of kids from different women. We would gather with all their kids and everything. So you celebrate both. I celebrate me all the time because I'm magically orgasmic. Okay? And then I celebrate those who have passed on that have built me up as well, that I carry them and I carry their wisdom, and then it makes me seem smarter. So you never forget the people who have passed on. Yeah. That's it. So Michelle, we got to talk though.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
So one more time, I'm going to put up, Michelle, your, so for anybody that wants to get involved, right? It's hashtag 50ish, the movement, correct? Is that correct?
Well, you could hashtag if you want to.
It's at.
Oh, it's at. Okay, I'll fix it right now. So let me fix it.
But I just want to say before we go that if you have fear right now, ladies who are watching, it's okay. Try to figure out where that fear is coming from and correct it, or have it dissipated from your life. Know what it is. What is that fear? Why am I afraid of this? And then confront it, because that's the only way you're going to overcome your fear. I can't do it for you, Michelle, nor the badass Buddha. You have to look in the mirror and say, what is this? And I don't need you anymore. And let's just be gone with this. And because if not, that's like that. When you leave that bread for a long time and it starts getting the mold in one little circle. I don't know how it's a perfect circle mold. I be watching it sometimes. And then it spreads. That's how that fear does. I'm making penicillin and shit, right? So, and you have to confront it. You have to figure out, where's this fear coming from? Is it even mine, or did I absorb it from my partner or from my family members? Do I even need my partner? What did it? Find out what the hell you need, and then expel all the negative energies.
Yes.
And become the best you that you can possibly be, because only you can get yourself there.
That's right. Choose you.
We can be cheerleaders for you, but you got to do the work. So let's get to work. Let's expel those fears that we believe are normal and natural to have, because it's not. It's not.
Be ready. Just be ready. Like I said, it took me a year to actually profile myself on my own platform, because I'm always saying, oh, I do it when I lose a few pounds, or when my skin clears up and my hair grows longer. And it's like, no, today, let's do it today, because tomorrow, that
it's not promised.
Yeah. Like, take the opportunity now while we have it.
And it was fabulous.
Oh.
Fabulous in your bikini. It's not a bikini, you had a one piece, right?
One piece, I
loved it. High, because it was high. It was high.
Yeah, it's a high. You gotta
I visualized you. So yeah. Absolutely. I did that with something that I'll be launching in April. But it took me 6 months to actually do it. Yeah. And it's still under wraps, and I still feel like it's not perfected, but this week I've been delayed, but I'm going to perfect it by the time I'm ready for launch. Everything else is pretty much done, because I've been working behind the scenes on that. But it was the same way. I felt so intimidated by my own ability to I really wanted to do it, but I was like, nah, I'm not going to be good at that. Who do I think I am? And then I think it was 6 months. I was like, fuck it, let me try it.
Right.
When I decided to do it,
we're always our worst enemy. That's the whole
Right.
point.
Yeah.
You got to say fuck it. You
and
do.
and you putting yourself on your own platform, I think that was so majestic because even in how you did it, real quick, you had all these women on the platform, including myself, because I'm very proud of that. I even dug into my hair. And then a year later, you did yourself.
Yeah.
And normally people would do themselves first, or every quarterly. Right. I'm doing the quarterly checkup. But you didn't. So you allowed women to be on your platform,
right,
and express their beauty and their savviness and just their I matter stance.
Right.
And if you did anything else, you let us realize that we belong,
right,
to this movement, and then you did yourself. So I mean, you know what? We're never too early or too late. You know, we're always on God's time, so we're always on the right time. And when that happens, you know what you're doing is good.
I wanted to show the women, especially because a lot of the women I don't know. I wanted to know, like, I'm going to be 53 as well, and I wanted to go that as the face of 50ish. Like, I wanted you to see who I was, like, who, and I wanted you to know my story and why I did it, and that I have the same. I'm just like you, we're just all the same, and although we might have different journeys and different paths, right? We're all the same, and the feedback was really, really good. But I didn't want to put myself first because it wasn't about me. It was It was more about these women and who I wanted to celebrate, and just I like the sisterhood. I went to all women's college. Like, I've always had very, very healthy relationships with women, and the women that didn't like me, that's because they have a problem.
Yes.
But I like my female friends. I love them, and I have really good relationships with men as well. But this is more a celebration for them, and yeah.
It is. We have to celebrate one another. We have to celebrate one another with no stigmas attached, no envious, no feeling like it's a competition, and that's beautiful. And I think the more we do what you're doing, what Lori, Badass Buddha, and I do, twice a week, is to let them know we all matter. We're all love. Right. Lift your head to the sun, add a little water to your roots, and bloom, because that's what we are. We're a garden of beautiful, flowers that need to just be one another. We don't turn away from one another. And I think that's beautiful. And I think there's some women that still have a way to come, but for the majority,
it's a change going on. There's definitely a change going on. Yeah. We see each other very, very differently.
That's beautiful. Yay.
Thank you so much for coming.
I don't even know what time it is, because
I know it's time to go, but thank you so much, Michelle. We really appreciate you coming on. It's I mean, we hope that you come on as a guest, and we'll continue this conversation. And again, at 50ish_ the movement, connect with Michelle and get onto her social media and really celebrate yourselves and be a part of her platform so that you can share your story with her. And so you could celebrate you, and you can also know that you're not alone in this, that we all have our little pieces that we struggle with. But if we can all work together as a group, we could all fuck the fear together, and we can be the best versions of ourselves. And we could just really make shit happen, So thank you again, Michelle, so much for coming on.
Awesome.
Yeah. Do you have any positive quote you want to end with, Michelle? Because we do.
Shucks. A quote. My favorite quote. Okay, it's my tagline on my it's a Maya Angelou quote, and it's my tagline, and it's on my emails, and I'll tell you what it is. It is, my mission in life is not merely to survive, but to thrive, and to do so with some passion, some compassion, some humor, and some style. And yeah, that's my favorite quote of all times, because it really resonates with me. I think it kind of speaks to my character and my person.
Perfect. Wonderful. All right. So Thursday's guest, just want to show what the Thursday's guest. So Thursday, we will talk about if you are an empath or a highly sensitive person with our guest, Supriya Prasad. So we're hoping that you join us for that, especially if you've noticed that you've been sensitive for years. We're going to maybe get into the depths of why that happens, and fuck the fear on that too. Get past that piece. So you don't use that as an excuse anymore. And again, we want to thank our guest, Michelle Sanchez Boyce, because you're just awesome. Very
awesome.
You were just so fantastic, and everybody loved your energy, and the comments that were coming in were just wonderful, wonderful, wonderful. So thank you so much for coming on.
Thanks for having me.
And so that's it, everybody. We'll see you on Thursday. And from me, the Badass Buddha, remember, be you, be real, and be extraordinary.
And from me, the Gladiator Guru, take a deep breath, breathe in the beauty, breathe out the bullshit. Namaste.
Namaste, everyone.
Bye.